Now, just on an annual service for Kate's boiler, and it got me thinking. First of all, are you a coffee or a tea drinker? I'm a coffee drinker. So I was thinking, what do you actually do on an annual service on a boiler that is coming up to being 5 years old? So, do you actually do the safe to touch test on the boiler and the pipework and the gas meter before you actually start? Now you know it's safe to touch because I've proved it, used it, proved it. Now I know it's safe to touch it. Do you do turning it on to make sure it works? So, do you go to the nearest hot tap? Make sure it fires up and runs. And do you turn the heating on to make sure it works? So while we're at the meter, we might as well do an inspection. Any faults you can see here, guys? There's at least 2. Put in the comments and let me know what you think it is. Do you carry out a tightness test on a service? And are you old school or are you actually in the 2000s? Do you use things like 10mm nut spinners on the nuts for the meter? And do you use digital test equipment? I don't normally. I'm only doing it for the video. I'm old school. Now, that's the let-by test complete. Do you think that has passed or has it failed? Well, I think it's passed. Now, temperature stabilisation. Is there a pass and fail on this test? Nah, do what it wants. Just need to go on to the next test. Now, that's the tightness test complete. Is it a pass or is it a fail? So the meter is a G4 meter with appliances connected and no smell of gas. As soon as it's only dropped to 0.26 millibars, I'm going to call it a pass. Now, do we need to purge after this tightness test? Well, technically no, because we haven't allowed any air into the system. But I've encountered a cooker while I'm servicing this boiler, so I need to check that anyway. So I can use that as my purge before I check my pressures. So how many of you check the other gas appliances you encounter when you're doing a service? Or do you need to check them? Do you check things like, does this hob require ventilation? Has it got an openable window? Or are you just interested in the boiler, you don't care about anything else? So now we've checked the hob and we've got the gas working, we can now take our standing pressure because there's nothing working at all. Our standing pressure is around 24.2 millibars. So let's go and put the boiler on and see what our working pressure is at the meter. So we've got our hot tap on full in the kitchen and we've got a working pressure at the meter of 20.7, 20.8 millibars. Now, should I put the boiler in maximum rate for this or should I just turn the hot tap on? Let us know in the comments. Now we put the boiler into maximum rate, just for you guys who like to put it in maximum rate and not use the water. We can see in maximum rate this has gone down to 19.3, 19.4 millibars. So which one would you use? Would you use the hot water one or would you use high fire? So we've finished the test at the meter bar gas rating now. Do you use LDF on your test nipple? Be honest. Or are you one of those modern gas engineers who uses a gas sniffer instead of LDF? And after you've LDF'd your test nipple, do you actually wipe it off? And do you bladder your anaconda with LDF as well? Now we're actually ready to start looking at the boiler. So do you do a visual inspection inside, or do you not even bother taking the cover off? So give it a good visual now to make sure we've got no water leaks. Everything looks very dry and very good. Especially auto air vent. So nothing leaking. So do you visually inspect the flue? And do you actually check and make sure it's sealed behind there? Do you check the flue's sealed on the inside? Now, because of the age of this boiler, we're going to be taking the burner off and inspecting the heat exchanger. So, do you change the seal when you do this or not? Now, when you're undoing these nuts, do you use a socket or do you use a spanner? Now, when you've removed the burner, do you actually check with a pound coin the gap between the electrodes and the generator? It's a little bit spread, and if I was to adjust this, I'd have to heat it up first with my blow lamp, because don't try and adjust these when they're cold, they'll just snap off. And also, do you file the ends up so you get a nice clean end to get rid of all this carbon? Well, that's what I'll be doing. Well, I think after 5 years, the heat exchanger needs a bit of a clean out. Do you use one of these? The cleaning tool for inside here? Or do you have one of them whizzy brushes? Whizzes around. So that's now the heat exchanger clean. So it looks tons better now. So we can start putting it all back together again. Now, one of the things you need to make sure, guys, is that the rubber seal hasn't fallen off down here when you've taken the actual heat engine out. So this seal goes on there. You can see the muck down there, what's come out of this trap. So, what's made the trap go orange, and where's all this muck come from? Stick it in the comments and let me know. So if you wanted to know how these traps work on these ideal boilers, they're siphonic traps, so it's a bit like a toilet siphon. So if we fill the water in here, you'll see it'll then start to rise here. When it gets to the top, it's then like a toilet siphon, it empties itself. So that's about as clean as we're going to get this trap, because they used to come right in the early days with a nut on the bottom there what you could take off and clean it all out, but you can't do that now. So that's about as clean as we're going to get it. But before you put it back, you've got to make sure you fill up this part of the siphon. I don't know whether you can hear me or not, but do you use a gas sniffer then once you've taken the combustion chamber cover off and you've disconnected from the gas valve? And I know the fan is sucking the gas in, but it's still, you're relying on this little O-ring and clip here to see whether it's leaking or not. But is this just belts and braces, or is it BS, or is it good practice? Now, once you change the seal on the burner, do you actually do a sweep test around the burner door to see whether it's actually leaking or not? So I'm just doing a sweep test, 2-minute test, and it's going to give me how much CO is going to be coming out. I don't seem to be getting anything. Or you just rub your fingers around it when it's on, because this is cold technology, so this door should not get hot when your boiler's running. So if you've got POCs coming out of here, this is going to be hot and you're going to feel it. And I can't feel anything, and my sweep test is also not picking anything up. What analyzers do you use as well? I love this app, I love this TPI because of this app. Because you can put it on your iPad or you can put it on your phone or whatever. And it's getting old, you know, eyes are a bit crappy, so I need to be able to see it. Look at that, amazing. So let us know what analyzers you prefer and you like to use, because I think these are amazing. Now, on a service, should we be checking the pressure in the expansion vessel or not? Put down in the comments, let me know if it should be. Now, as you can see here, it's a bit hard to get on the sample point for the flue gas analysing. Can't get it in, but do you use one of these from Trapex? These right angled flue adapters, because I can now quite easily get the analyzer in there. Makes it dead easy to get into. Obviously, I now need to put the cover back on because I couldn't even get my hands in. I can't get my hands over the top and I couldn't get my hands in there. So this has made it easy. So make sure you get one because they are amazing. So while I am using this DC710 from TPI, I thought I'd show you the app. It's great. All I need to do now is, I'm going to do flue gas analysing now. So all I need to do is tap on here and the DC710 comes up. If I activate the SP620 by pressing that button in, it automatically comes up there as well. So I can connect these two appliances, or two products, doing the test. So if I go on to the DC710, it's now saying it's connecting to the device. So I can now work the device from here. Don't even need to touch it because I can start the pump and I can stop the pump. So I can do everything from here. So it's an amazing app and works absolutely fantastic. It even tells you what gas you're on, it tells you what your battery life is, it tells you the date and time. We can screenshot this, send it to a customer. We can email it, we can do whatever we want with it. It's an amazing piece of equipment. So if you want to know how to get this boiler, this Ideal Vogue, into maximum and minimum setting, we press the menu button. We then scroll down till we get to service mode. We then press select. We've now got minimum central heating rate, and then we've got maximum central heating rate. We've got domestic hot water. So if we want to select the minimum central heating rate, we just press select. And this boiler now will tell us what the target fan speed is and for how long it's been running. When you want to exit it, you just press exit and it says leaving service mode. It's as simple as that. So we're on minimum rate, and our readings are CO 0, CO2 7.8, ratio is off the scale so it's not reading it. We've got an oxygen reading of 7.2, excess air 53%, and a flue temperature of 28.7. So is that good or is it bad? Remember, this is an ideal Vogue boiler. Now we're now on maximum rate. We've only been running a couple of minutes and we've already got stable readings. So we've got CO 90, CO2 8.9, ratio 0.001, 5.302, excess air 34%, and flue temperature of 34.4 degrees centigrade. So is that correct or not correct? Let me know. Now we've changed from POCs to air in, and I just need to put the cover back on and then we can test our flue integrity. So flue integrity, we've been going minute, zero CO, 0 CO2, oxygen 20.9, nothing for excess air, and 21.7 degrees flue temperature. Is that correct? And if it is correct, what can our oxygen reading go down to and still be correct? Let me know in the comments. So we're on maximum. Been running a minute. Remember flue integrity this. So 0 CO, 0 CO2, ratio's coming up 0, oxygen still 20.9, no excess air, and flue temperature 20.1. So again guys, is that correct or not correct? Always make sure you put your caps back after you've done your flue gas analysing. I always take a picture. Do you check the seal on the cover as well on a service, just to make sure it's still in perfect condition, or do you just rely on a sweep test? Because that's our next test, is the sweep test. So how many of you carry out the sweep test when you're servicing? So round the casing, round the turret, round the test points, we're looking for less than 10 parts per million of CO after 2 minutes. Is this BS, fluff and stuff, or is it a necessity on a service? I like that word, fluff and stuff. It's my new word. Let's get on with it. 2 minutes are up. We're completed. We've got 0 for everything. So remember, our working pressure at the meter with the tap running was 20.7, I think. So we have got 20.1. Working at the appliance, we've gone down to 19.9. So is that correct, guys? Are we passing that one? So we've now got the boiler in maximum rate, so hopefully you can hear me, and we've got 18.6, 18.7, 18, so it's on the borderline, isn't it? But what can we do? So is that correct or not? Are we condemning this boiler? Are we IDing it? Are we out-risking it? Are we running quick and not telling the customer? Put down in the comments what you think, guys. Is this dangerous or not? And obviously don't forget LDF in your nipple, who misses, after you've put it back. And again, don't forget to wipe off the excess. You don't want it corroding. Now, next thing is I'm going to try the safety devices and see if this boiler actually locks out if we've got no gas. So I'm going to turn a hot tap on, wait till it fires up, And then I'm just going to turn off the gas valve underneath the boiler to isolate the gas going in. It should then sense there's no gas and it should go to a fault code. So the burner is on. Turn off the gas. The burner's gone off. It's gone straight away flame loss. And it says contact installer. So turn the tap off. Put the gas back on. Wherever it is. Try it again. And it's back on. So, flame rectification works on this boiler. That's all we needed to do. Now then, cleaning the filter out. Is that part of your service? Or is that for the customer to do? Well, I like to do it. So, isolate it, turn it off, remove the magnet, open the drain, then open the top and flush it out. Open the bottom and flush it out. And then we'll see what dirt we've got in. Absolutely nothing by the looks of it. This looks like a very clean system. So, again, would you do this on a service? Or am I just doing it because it's my daughter's? So, put it back in, turn off the drain, open up the valves, and then we need to check now and see about water. So the next thing is, would you test the water quality on a service? Now we're going to be taking the water quality from the furthest radiator from the system. So again, some of you will go, this isn't correct because you're taking it at the top of the radiator. Well, you're supposed to. Anyway, I'm using my gas engineer software Bleaky, which I've just got. So we're going to fill the turbidity tube up to the second line. And then we're going to let it settle for a minute and see how clear it is. And we're going to use our test strips to see if we need to add any more inhibitor, which we've got here. So let's wait for it to settle a bit and then we'll look at the test strips. So literally after a few seconds it's cleared now. And the way the turbidity tube is you fill it up to the second line and you look down here and we should see the rings. And we can see that is really clear, seeing the rings. So we don't seem to have any corrosion or any magnetite in the system because the magnet didn't catch anything, and the system looks pretty good. So let's use our test strips now and find out if we need to add any inhibitor. So all I'm going to do is get the test strip, dip it into the water, shake off the excess, and just leave it for a few seconds, and then we can test it against the little graph here. I'll chart. So you can see there's plenty of inhibitor in it. So we're going to be gas rating. Now then, how many of you press 0 3 times? Or how many of you press 9 when you're actually gas rating? So I'm going to be using the TPI app again for the gas rating. And I'm going to be using 9 like you're supposed to do, not the zeros. So let me know what you do. So using this app, I'm only doing this for the video because I always do it with pencil and paper Dave's got my phone, so I can't do it on my phone, so I'll have to do it on this. So press that, now says we're going to start the test. It now wants us to put in the first readings. Right, so start the test. What I'm going to do is press this 3 times. I've got to be quick with this. So it's going to be 4.722. So 4.722 and then set. It's now counting down for the 2 minutes for us. So see you in 2 minutes. Second reading, 1, 2, 3. We've got 4.790. 4.790 set. So our gas rate is coming out at 2.04 meters cubed an hour, which is working out at 21.95 kilowatts gross or 19.78 kilowatts net. Right, now let's gas rate the heating. So let's press 9 3 times again. 1, 2, 3. Look and see what the test is. 4.919. So 4.919 set. Now you can see here it says we could actually do it for 1 minute. But with this meter, you can't gas rate for 1 minute. You've got to do it over 2 minutes to get the accurate figure. So that's why we're doing it 2 minutes with this one. Now, if the numbers were on the display constantly, like the old G4 meters, then you can gas rate within 1 minute. But because of the smart meters, you have to gas rate within 2 minutes. 1, 2, 3. And we are 5.010, so 5.010 set. So with the heating on, you can see we're coming out at 29.3 kilowatts gross or 26.46 kilowatts net. Now, do you do flow rate and temperature rise at the tap? So if you don't, how do you actually know whether your gas rates are correct or not for your water? So let's do the cold water first. So let's see what the flow rate is. So the flow rate on the cold water is about 7 litres. And let's find out what the temperature is. So, looks like it's stabilised now at 13.1 degrees centigrade for the cold water at just under 8 litres. It's just under 8 litres. So let's try the hot tap. So again on the litres per minute, it's about just over 7 litres a minute. So let's see what the temperature is. So we've got the flow temperature on the boiler set to maximum, which is 6 degrees on the boiler. And the boiler is giving us 61.6 degrees at the tap. So, nothing wrong with the boiler so far. Now, what about checking flow and return temperatures on a service? And what about advising your customer about your flow temperatures? Now, the good thing about this boiler is there's a screen here with sensor readings, and it says the flow temperature is 54 and the return temperature is 34. And this has been set up for a flow temperature of 55, I think. So, what would you do in a situation when you go out to a customer's where they've got a high flow temperature and a really high return temperature? So it's above condensing and it's not condensing. Would you advise them to drop the temperature? Anyway, let me know what you do about the flow and return temperatures, or do you just not bother with them and just do one quickly? Now we're coming to the end of this service. So the battery's in the stats because these are remote stats. Whose responsibility is it to change the batteries? Is it the gas engineer who's carrying out the service, or is it the customer? Let us know what you think, guys. Should we be changing the batteries in the stats so we don't get that, oh, it was working before you touched it? Or is it just down to the customer? Because if you bought a telly from Curry's and the batteries go on the remote control, do you take it back to Curry's to put the batteries in? I think not. Anyway, let me know what you think. Now, condensate. We've cleaned the trap out, but what about checking whether the condensate pipe is insulated or not? Now, this runs internally to an internal drain, so it doesn't require any insulation. But what if it ran outside and wasn't insulated? What would you be doing on a service? Would you be noting it down, telling the customer the boiler's immediately dangerous? Or would you just give them a quote to actually put some insulation around it? Let us know what you think about that. What about CO alarms, guys? Are you checking the customer has one? And if they do have one, are you checking it's working? And here's pressing that button saying that that alarm is working. Let me know what you think. And finally, paperwork. Do you just fill in the installation and service manual like I do, and I stick the little test strips inside the book like that? The other one, what's missing, is in the bag. I'm just going to sellotape it on there now. So that was from last year. So let me know what you do. Or do you just wing it and do one after you got your money, obviously? Oh, talking about that. So that is the end of me carrying out this 5-year service on Kate's boiler. So don't forget, anything you think I've done wrong, put it in the comments. Anything you think needs to be changed, put it in the comments. I'm expecting that comment. If I did all those tests, I wouldn't make any money. I'm expecting a few of those. So hopefully you've liked the video, and thanks to my cameraman Dave. Cheers.